Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymytv.com.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4. Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Get ready for The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live.
Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. Dave Scott here in our Splash Studios in West Bloomfield with The Splash Live. It's part of an hour and a half of live local programming coming up this morning. And unfortunately, you're stuck with me for an hour and a half. Tyler Keefe has a day off. We start off this morning with the Splash Live. At 10 o'clock, we'll take a wider look at our region and do the Megacast. So very local here for the next couple minutes, and then we'll open things up. And we are here till 11 o'clock this morning. And thank you for joining us. If you're watching us on cable TV, where we have been for years, thank you for tuning in on Comcast Channel 15. If you're an AT&T subscriber, you can still get us in your local cable. Go to Channel 99. There'll be a menu of all the different communities. Pick your community where you live, and then you'll find our programming. I personally love watching our product on the web. Really easy to do that. Just get out your web browser, go to civiccentertv.com. You'll get our programming in full high definition and also be able to see the other great things on Civic Center TV's website. Social media, we are there each and every day. Watch us live on Facebook. Search for Civic Center TV 15 over on YouTube. You can watch us there as well. Again, just search for Civic Center TV. And we always enjoy you tuning in on our local radio station, our community radio station, 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you for tuning in if you're driving around the community or watching if you're in front of your computer at home. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Dave Scott. So we got a great show lined up. First of all, let's take a look at our weather here in the greater West Bloomfield area, and not really so bad after all that ridiculously cold weather we had for a couple of days last week. We're going to make it up to 46 degrees, and this will really be the nicest day we have all week. 46 degrees, plenty of sunshine poking through. It's going to cool off to 28 tonight. Tomorrow, even a little bit warmer, as you can see, and still plenty of sunshine, down to 31. Some rain for Thanksgiving Day. But really good to see that we're not going to have a bunch of snowfall and really nasty weather as we start to travel around the country, maybe through our airports or even just driving across town for the Thanksgiving holiday. So yesterday was a very, very important day for our community as the West Bloomfield School District took a look at improvements that they are going to undertake, or they're at least working on undertaking with many of their major buildings. So in last night's West Bloomfield School Board meeting, the discussion was taken up over $148 million capital improvement program that will impact many district buildings. A bunch of the elementaries, Roosevelt and Shaco Elementary, will address Abbott. And the plan, as you're going to hear about in a couple of minutes from Kyle Anderson, the Assistant Superintendent for Business Affairs for the district, the plan actually calls for, very similar to what we did at the Orchard Lake, now West Bloomfield Middle School, removing the buildings on the site, if I have this right, removing the buildings on the site and replacing them with new buildings. So that's what would happen at Shaco, and that's what would happen at Roosevelt. There are improvements around the rest of the district, though, and we're going to run all those down. A survey was put forth by the school administration and your Board of Education to find out what people in the community thought about this idea. It's a $148 million bond issue. A 6.15 millage rate, which we currently have here in West Bloomfield, will be maintained. So the millage isn't going to go up. It won't go down, but it won't go up from where it currently is. And there's the expectation for a vote on May 23rd. Now, as I mentioned, there was a survey done by really the most prestigious survey firm in the state of Michigan, Epic MRA out of Lansing. They do all the political surveys. They surveyed 400 West Bloomfield residents and found that 69% of the people approved of the idea. And with that, Kyle Anderson put together a presentation last night. He, again, is the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations. We're going to play that for you and let you hear from him about the plan. You'll also hear from Donnie Bazzi, our superintendent, and some of the board members had some questions in here, which we'll talk about after. But let's listen to what Kyle Anderson said at last night's board meeting. And he starts out by talking about the results of that survey.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the plan scope and the overview. The plan would be to build 2 new elementary buildings on the Chico and Doherty sites. So the names of the buildings would not change, and those buildings would remain on those sites. New buildings or additions or renovations to any elementary school would be flexible to allow for future grade reconfiguration if the district so chose. We would address the career technical education and STEAM spaces at the high school, and also outdoor multi-activity space at the high school. We would include appropriate and dedicated early childhood spaces associated with our north and south end PK2 buildings. We would relocate ACS to the Abbott building, as I mentioned, and include work scope for technology refresh, school buses, and land acquisition. So the recommendation before the board this evening is to proceed seeking preliminary qualification status with the Michigan Department of Treasury for a no-mill increase $148 million bond initiative to be placed on the May 2nd, 2023 ballot. The reason we are seeking qualification status from the Treasury is to really piggyback on the state's credit rating, and hopefully that would translate into about $2 to $2.6 million in additional interest savings if successful and we sell the bonds at that point. So that little bit of effort is well worth the opportunity to save on interest costs for our taxpayers. Just a few important dates to consider. November 30th, if approved this evening by the board, we would continue with our meeting with the Michigan Department of Treasury about qualification. On December 12th, we would bring that application back to the board for their consideration and approval. In January, the Board of Education would consider a resolution calling the election. And on February 7th, the deadline is to approve the ballot language and be submitted to the election coordinator. And of course, Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023 would be the election. Before I take any questions from the board, I'd like to, I know Dr. Bazzi has some comments that she'd like to make.
Thank you, Kyle, for your presentation and sharing the story that took us from kind of day one together to the recommendation that you presented to the board. You know, to the community, what I want to say is what makes a strong school system is our partnership with our community members. This is a very, obviously, there's a lot of emotion and love for the Roosevelt community, and I completely respect that and understand that. What I will say is that the bond issue really is separated from the long-term decision in terms of the programming within the district. So as much as I understand that the community wants a response now, I've, like I said before, I've been here 4.5 months, and I can't make that type of recommendation to the board without having the proper data in terms of building facility, in terms of enrollment, in terms of migration, in terms of financial stability of the district long-term. We have 5,000 students that we support, as well as a larger community. My job is to be steady, calm, and make informed decisions and recommendation to the Board of Education. We'll continue to listen to you, but I know in the end, all of us are going to come together and do what's best for our students, for the long-term viability and success of the district on behalf of our students, why we're here. So in terms of this bond package that Kyle Anderson has presented, it is a wonderful opportunity for our community. And this work will impact our students, our children, our grandchildren for the next probably 50, 60 years. So these opportunities don't come. We need to come together on behalf of our students. That's what we all committed to do by coming together as a community. So the timing of this also is, we don't control that. If anyone has questions about the presentation later on, obviously I'm always available, and so is Mr. Anderson. So a decision will come, and a recommendation with regards to all programming within the district will come. But in order to gain the data needed for a decision, it's probably going to come in early summer. And I just want to be transparent with that.
Okay, Ms. Beatty, do we have a motion?
Yes, I move to support the resolution to seek primary qualification status with the Michigan Department of Treasury for $148 million, no millage increase bond issue. The proposition would be placed on the May 2nd, 2023 ballot per enclosure 8.
The preliminary qualifications, right?
Yes.
Do we have a second? Mrs. Forehand. The motion to support the resolution to seek preliminary qualification status with the Michigan Department of Treasury per enclosure 8 has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Ms. Finkelstein.
I would just like to have clarification more for the public. I think we're on the same page, that the language in this bond proposal, we're only going to Treasury to get the qualification. That's what we're approving tonight. We're not locking ourselves into the scope of work that was outlined in as far as moving into Abbott or any of those. There's still flexibility in what can be done with this money to an extent. It's not locking us into that.
Right. To go to Treasury, you have to include in terms of where you're going to spend the money. So they do want, in a sense, specifics, right? Because if you put something on the ballot, you need to be inclusive of those things. Now, what can happen, obviously, we've seen with COVID that cost of materials and infrastructure changes with capital improvements. So sometimes you might not have enough to be able to do all of the things you say, but it needs to be included in the bond allocations. So can things move? Is there a little bit of flexibility? Yes, there is flexibility, but the scope has to be defined enough that we stay true to what we're asking voters to approve. So this is the main application that goes to Treasury that includes the $148 million and how things are allocated per site or the types of things that you're doing. So if you say preschool classrooms, then you need to have preschool classrooms. Now, where those could be, there could be flexibility, but it's almost where we write it broad enough so that we have flexibility, but there has to be some level of detail that Mr. Anderson provided today.
Any other questions? Ms. Evans.
So just for clarification, because again, I want to assure myself in the vote as well as the community understand. So what was presented, is this a complete and comprehensive analysis of curriculum needs, school of choice, facility studies? Or again, is this to allow us flexibility, just to kind of scope this from a very broad perspective, so we then can take more of an analysis to figure out where we will be spending this money for the bond?
So again, from a curricular standpoint, programming, yes, that study has went in. The actual design of that programming space will happen after the bond is passed. So for example, if we say CTE space at West Bloomfield High School, the actual design from that will start from when we, and again, this is a 3-series bond, so things will be done over a 6-year period. So when we time things out, that's when the design process starts. So yes, but one thing, and I know you know this, but for the public, is that bonds can only be used for capital improvements. You can't use those funds to pay staff. You can't use those funds to buy textbooks. It has to be used for capital improvements. And as Mr. Anderson pointed out, only 7 states in the United States don't include capital improvements within their state's budget. So we are forced, the only way to do capital improvement projects in Michigan is through a bond vote. It's just, that's the way our system is set up. And hopefully those things will change over time in terms of how the state funds public education, but that's where we're at. So again, in the bond scope, there has to be some definition when you go to Treasury, because they want to know how the $148 million are allocated. But for example, say you go out to bid and the cost is $8 million and you had budgeted $12 million, then you can move the $4 million around to where you'll have flexibility. But it's kind of like, again, the way that it's written is in a way where it allows for some flexibility, but there does have to be a defined scope of work and full transparency.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes 7-0.
And there you have it, the West Bloomfield School Board last night taking action on a $148 million bond issue that will not increase your millage rate at West Bloomfield within our West Bloomfield School District in any way whatsoever. The millage rate stays the same, but they go out and they borrow $148 million. I think the number for, and again, I shouldn't even be saying this without having the numbers right in front of me, but I think the number for the middle school was somewhere around 60 or 70 or so. So this is a big investment, and it's an investment that will build us a new Roosevelt and build us a new Shaco on their current sites. We'll provide new facilities at West Bloomfield High School, and on and on and on. We'll have plenty of opportunity to dive into all the details of this. This decision last night is to go to the state to get all the funding aligned and to team up with the state of Michigan to do this, as you heard Kyle Anderson say a minute or two ago, to save a couple of $1 million on financing by working with the state. And the big questions from a couple of the board members last night, all about how flexible is this is. Doesn't sound like the plan is all that flexible. Curriculum that we put in these physical structures, a lot of flexibility there. The design of the structures, flexibility there. But the plans that we're sending to the state of Michigan based on last night's vote, pretty specific. So I'm sure there'll be lots more conversation, more information, and we'll continue to cover this extensively and make sure you have the information as this leads toward a vote on this issue in early May here in West Bloomfield. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a minute. It was a fun night last night at the West Bloomfield Township Board meeting. I'll show you an excerpt from that meeting as our own township clerk, Debbie Binder, was right in the center of all of it. We'll talk about that in just a minute. You're watching The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV. What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymytv.com. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us on The Splash Live. Dave, Scott in our studios here in West Bloomfield. Awful good to be with you. Don't forget, we have a whole another hour of programming, very local here right now in The Splash Live, but after 10 o'clock, it's the Megacast, and we'll take a wider look at our state, our county, and our region. Tyler Kieft is off today. I'll do the very best I can to muddle my way through the next hour here with you this morning. Thank you for joining us on all of our outlets, Civic Center TV, on cable, certainly on our websites, and on the radio on 89.3 Lakes FM. So at our township board meeting last night, not only school board meeting, but the West Bloomfield Township Board also met last night. And we had a little bit greater opportunity to get some insight into our amazing fire department here in West Bloomfield. They have a program called Fire Ops 101 that, as we'll hear in a minute, I think is part of a national program that helps our elected officials get a better understanding of what's going on inside the fire department. And our own chief, Greg Flynn, was speaking last night before the township board. Let's pick it up.
The Fire Ops 101 program is an opportunity for elected officials, decision makers within the community. We ask much of you, and you're buying expensive pieces of extrication equipment and breathing apparatus and fire trucks. And so often the decision makers don't get to see, feel, touch, wear, and experience those things. And your mutual aid group, the 10 departments that make up the Oakway Mutual Aid Group here in Oakland County, started a few years back in creating this day, this Fire Ops 101, in conjunction with all of our labor organizations. And here, Local 1721, the proud firefighters here in West Bloomfield, all contribute to that success. And we start at 8 o'clock in the morning, just like the firefighters start their shift. And we cycle each of the participants through a medical emergency and treating a sick and injured patient in the back of an ambulance, going and fighting a car fire and taking care of a hazardous material spill and an extrication, and really just giving them an experience of what it's like to be a firefighter. I have just a very brief video that I would like to share with the group that kind of captures a little bit of what Clerk Binder went through. Mr. Supervisor, I made it it's a minute and 42 seconds exactly. All right.
Thank you.
Have you seen that? That's where that music was.
While he's doing that, there's a couple of empty seats in the front if anybody wants to come out.
Chief, do you have the helmet to present?
Yeah, I think the clerk
Yeah.
wanted to make a
Yeah.
few comments, and I have Sergeant Benning here that will present the helmet. That was,
All right, very
Sergeant
good.
Benning was
We'll
with
hear from the
Clerk
clerk.
Binder.
I would like to share my post from social media on the day of Fire Ops 101, as I think it best encapsulates the experience. Some of it will be redundant, Chief, but I think it's all worth repeating. I recently had the privilege of participating in an amazing opportunity to learn firsthand about the real job of being a firefighter paramedic. I have always appreciated the value and challenge of the job they do. However, I have a whole new understanding of the fact that they actually make those challenges look easy when indeed they are not. Fire Ops 101 is an all-day event sponsored by the IAFF and IAFF Local 1721, as well as our Oakway partner communities. It is intended for elected officials and stakeholders to understand the job of firefighter paramedic and how their decisions impact the function of the department and thereby the safety of the community. We participated in a variety of scenarios, including a house fire, a car extrication, hazmat, advanced technical rescue, and active shooter situations. I was assigned an absolutely incredible handler charged with guiding me and keeping me safe. While challenged, our West Bloomfield firefighter paramedic, Nick Benning, made sure I was safe and prepared while documenting much of the day for me. Important takeaways from the experience. 1, the job is not easy. In fact, it's incredibly challenging and takes extraordinary commitment and training. All of the equipment is extremely heavy and takes learning how to function and navigate with. You saw that. 2, I was 100% exhausted from a full day of the activities they do every day. Our scenarios did not involve genuine trauma or bleeding. The emotional strength to confront these challenges daily takes a special person and requires community support to keep them going. 3, it's an incredible career choice, and our community has a lot to offer our firefighter paramedics. Our awesome residents come through with millage support for our public safety that is admirable and represents a clear understanding of the value of our West Bloomfield Fire Department and West Bloomfield Police Department and the value they provide to our community. 4, say thank you to your firefighter paramedics and police. They take on a huge responsibility. We are lucky in West Bloomfield to have such incredible departments. With great admiration for the department, I thank you for the opportunity, Chief.
So we hope that you'll accept this helmet with your own personalized shield on the front of the helmet with your name on it, Clerk Binder. And on behalf of all the firefighters here at Local 1721, thank you for the support from all of the board members for what you do every single day so that we can support the community and meet their expectations. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Chief Lynn.
Can I make a comment, Diane? Say something.
Oh, Diane Swimmer, please.
I'm pretty proud of Ms. Binder for completing it. I wasn't sure she'd actually follow through. I did mine with Mr. Manna, and I can tell you that we were pretty exhausted when we got in the truck with the fire marshal. And Jim and I decided at that point that fire could have anything, that police and fire could have anything they wanted within reason, because it was so hard just for the day.
I didn't like it though, because you tried to set me on fire. That wasn't fun.
Well, there you have an excerpt from last night's West Bloomfield Township board meeting, and great to hear more about the fire department. Great to see the experience that our township clerk, Debbie Binder, had, and you could just see how difficult that job is. And what a wonderful program that our partners around Oakland County and our fire department here in West Bloomfield put on every year to make sure we are aware of the amazing contributions from our firefighters and paramedics. Not an easy job, a very critical job here in our community, saving lives. We've seen the many stories over the years of the heroic life-saving efforts by our firefighters and first responders, all of them. So nice piece last night. And I just want to wrap this up with that coverage and the coverage we had for the West Bloomfield School Board meeting last night. A couple of very important meetings that I just encourage you to get out and get out to these meetings when you can. Keep an eye on the agendas on the various websites. And if you can't make a meeting, we always encourage you to tune in right here because we've got them all for you live and on demand. Go back and watch these meetings if you want, right here in Civic Center TV. I'm Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a great day. Enjoy your Tuesday here in West Bloomfield.
Hey, Laker fans, do you know a friend or neighbor that volunteers in Greater West Bloomfield? We would love to help you recognize them at the 51st Annual Michigan Week Awards. Countless members of the communities of Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and West Bloomfield give their time and talent daily without regard for recognition. You can help recognize these individuals and organizations at our awards breakfast next year on May 12th, 2023. Nominate your neighbor or organization starting January 28th, 2023. Go to michiganweek.org for details.
Well, the thing is, it's not.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymytv.com. Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Good morning. It is time now for the Megacast. Good morning, and thank you for joining us right here on all of our outlets around Oakland County, around West Bloomfield. We're on the radio, we're on the web, we're on various radio stations. It's awful good to have you here with us this morning. I'm Dave Scott. I started this show several years ago, and I haven't had the pleasure of sitting here in the host chair for quite a long time. Good to be with you this morning. Our Tyler Keith is off today. He'll be enjoying the rest of the Thanksgiving week with his family. I hope you're going to be able to do the same as well. And as things wind down here over the next couple of days, be able to relax, watch a little Lions football that won't give us indigestion, we hope, during Thanksgiving. Be able to tune in for that big Michigan-Ohio State football game over the weekend, and more importantly, enjoy a great meal, albeit a little bit more expensive than in years past, and have a great time with your family over the next several days, as Tyler has extended out. Here in the program today, we're going to talk to a number of interesting guests, and joining us to kick off the whole program is Amanda McKay. She's the supervisor of student programs at Oakland Schools. Amanda, good morning, and welcome to the Megacast.
Thank you for hosting me today, Dave.
Well, it's good to be with you, and thank you for taking a moment to join us. Larry King did a lot of interviews, and I always coach our guys. I don't normally get a chance to sit in the anchor chairs. Don't do too much research about whoever you're going to interview, because you might not ask the obvious questions. So that's the approach. I don't want you to think that I didn't prepare, but I know nothing about what we're going to be learning about. So let's start with a clean slate and talk about Oakland Schools' Accelerated Early College Program. That's what you're here to talk to us about.
Yeah, Dave, that's a perfect place to start, and I'm excited to talk with you about Oakland ACE Early College Program. Our program is part of Oakland Intermediate School District and part of the Student Services Department. An early college program offers students in high school the opportunity to begin taking college classes. Our program partners with Oakland Community College, and we offer students a range of options as far as career pathways and opportunities to transfer credits to a four-year university after our program is over. We also offer students.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue.
Sorry about that, Dave. Students also have the opportunity to work with the Michigan Transfer Agreement, which is an option for them to transfer up to 40 credits to a Michigan university to get started, to get a jump start on a career or area of study.
So let's talk about the kind of students that should be interested in this program. I'm sure it's not for everybody, but talk about the preparations and maybe the academic requirements that students would need to be able to have to begin taking college level courses while they're still in their final year of high school.
Well, Dave, our great state designed early college programs to serve a wide range of students. Originally, the program served students who were first generation to college, and we've grown and expanded. And now we serve students who are interested in exploring a challenging opportunity, taking college classes. So with our Oakland County partner districts, we help students identify if the program is the right choice for them, if they're up for a challenge, and then we help support them through a class called Seminar, where they meet weekly with a counselor from Oakland ACE and are taught those skills that they need to succeed. So we believe that with that type of support, we are able to serve a wide range of students. They're the heart of our program, and we're willing to try any student to see if they'll succeed with us, and often able to ensure that they do.
So this isn't just for students who may be getting a 4.0 and are so well prepared in high school that they can start taking college classes early. This is for a variety of students.
Absolutely, Dave. You picked up on a great point. Our minimum grade point average is actually 2.0. Some students, for a variety of reasons, may have had varying experiences in their high school, and offering the opportunity to take classes at the OCC with the support of Seminar. Sometimes we see students flourish in ways that we hadn't anticipated and are happily surprised by.
So are all of the students that would come into this program, do you anticipate that they're all going to go on and transfer on to a Michigan State, or one of our four-year programs? Or are many of them entering the program with the expectation to go through the college courses here in the area and then move on to employment?
Excellent question, Dave. We have traditionally three things happen. The first you mentioned, transferring a great deal of credits to a four-year university. We also have students who, through our program, experience apprenticeships and internships, connect with professors at OCC, and either stay at OCC or go on to a career and are fully employed. And they don't have to take any college debt with them in those scenarios because we pay for 62 college credits and the materials that they need for those classes.
Well, let's just start right there. That's a great incentive for parents. It's always been, a really good, smart thing for people in our area to consider this program, or even after graduating from our high schools, to go and spend a couple of years at OCC. You stay at home, your living expenses are a lot less. You've got a chance to transition into the college environment without all the other challenges and lifestyle challenges you would be if you were living on campus. And my goodness, with the cost of college right now, what a great way to get an affordable start for your first 2 years of education. It's practical for everybody. For, I assume, some families, it's essential.
Absolutely. We have several students who, as they were exiting the program last year and going on to some amazing opportunities, talked about how they would not have been able to attend college in any form if a program like ours didn't exist. And so we are happy to be able to provide those supports to students and ensure that they have a positive start in college, not only financially, but also with that college confidence because they've experienced success as they were supported as 11th and 12th graders and then added that 13th year at OCC full-time. And OCC has been a wonderful partner for us. They have 3 early college programs on their campuses, and they're wonderful hosts.
Amanda McKay is with us. Time to join us here on the Megacast. I'm Dave Scott, in for Tyler Keefe. Thank you for listening on radio, watching on cable, and joining us on the web. So, Amanda, I assume there's some great opportunity for students that are in high school in West Bloomfield, Walled Lake, any of our districts, Bloomfield Hills, who may not be able to find the curricula they want within the 4 walls or the 20 walls of our high school buildings. And there might be something, in addition to the practicality, in addition to all the other reasons, there might just be some programs that they can get started on, they're qualified to get started on, that just aren't available in our high schools.
Absolutely. Our high schools do a phenomenal job providing a variety of learning pathways, as you mentioned, but Student Services here at Oakland Schools provides not only Oakland ACE, but also our Oakland Technical campuses and Oakland Technical Early College and a K-12 virtual program. So we are just trying to offer pathways to students so that they can further explore their interests.
And let's talk a little bit about the virtual side. Obviously, there's a big virtual component to this, and that's got to just make it easier on many fronts. Talk about how this works if you are attending classes on the virtual side.
We do have students who choose a virtual learning pathway for a variety of reasons, and our OCC professors and staff here at Oakland ACE are well-versed on how to create a classroom community in a virtual space. And if students choose that pathway, they're able to see the same success as a student who chooses in person.
So, talk a little bit about some of the challenges. I mean, we've obviously, I want to profess the positive and talk about all the positive, but with any program, you may get into it and it might just not work for your son or daughter, or for you if you're watching. What kind of challenges might people run into that you keep an eye out for?
Absolutely. And you said son or daughter, and my own children are 6th and 8th grade in Lake Orion, and I hope they end up in this program because the biggest challenge will be for them and other students that I'm seeing is that they come in very committed to one career pathway, and they find their eyes are so open to various options that for a little while, it's hard for them to often decide which direction to go. But through careful coaching and exploration of careers through a variety of classes, we're able to help them find the path that's right for them.
Well, Amanda, I don't see that as a downside. I see that as an upside. That's awesome. It's so difficult. You sit down with your kids and you have a conversation, or in my case, my nieces, and you have a conversation with them. And "Hey, so what do you want to do?" Well, they don't always know. And it's even more challenging. I know in our family, some of the younger folks in our family have gone through all of their college education and ended up on a totally different career path after they graduated. It's difficult to understand with so many different choices that we have and what is the right path. So I'll say it, dipping your toe in the water by having some opportunity to explore some curricula, you might find that, hey, this is for me or this isn't for me. And isn't it better to do that while you're still in high school or at OCC than traveling off to a program that might have a very specialized purpose for you being on that campus.
Absolutely. And our students find that they have the exact experience you're talking about, dipping their toe in the water with the supports of their homeschool counselors, our Oakland ACE staff and counselor. And as I mentioned, OCC has been a wonderful partner. So they're just supported in so many ways as they dip their toe in the water to many different career opportunities.
So if you're in the Oakland ACE program, I always wondered this, you're in one of these programs where you're getting involved in the OCC collegiate program, so you're still in high school. What happens to your status as a student? Do you still graduate high school and then become a student at OCC, or do you just get into the program and you stay as part of the program during that 3-year period?
Yeah, as a 10th grade student, you are applying to OCC and you remain enrolled in both your home high school and OCC. So you have the amenities of both entities. And 11th and 12th grade, you spend time in high school and at OCC. And then we add a 13th year to get those 62 credits and possibly an associate's degree. And students remain on OCC's campus at that point full time.
Well, and this just makes so much sense. And, I keep urging people, and I'm not the only one, to take a look at some of the technical training that's available at OCC. There's so much pressure in our society. Well, to be successful, you've got to go to a 4-year program. I think that thought is so outdated now, especially with the cost of a 4-year degree. And, with some of the trades and skills, and I can tell you through my career, some of the trades and skills, you can have an absolutely wonderful life, make an awful lot of money, explore all kinds of things you want without necessarily having to go through a typical liberal arts 4-year program.
Absolutely, you're spot on. My own father was a millwright for his entire career, and he took his apprenticeship classes through Oakland Community College, helped provide him with a pathway that definitely allowed him to pursue a balance between family, life, and work. And I think we have a myriad of programs through student services like our technical campuses and early college that can help provide students with that option beyond just going to a 4-year university, as many thought was the path for so long.
Amanda McKay, Supervisor of Student Programs, Oakland Schools. And what did we miss? What else do people need to know about your program? Anything else we should share before we say so long?
I want to share gratitude with you, Dave, for allowing me to be here on the program with you. And our website is an excellent resource to check out live hosted sessions by myself and Oakland staff so that you can meet with us and we can answer any questions that you have from after Thanksgiving on the 28th until February 28th, the end. We will be having live meetings every day on Thursday at 11 a.m. and Tuesdays at 7 p.m. So join us.
Is there a specific enrollment window that you like to look at for this program? You're talking about it now over Thanksgiving. We're in the school year. I assume you're working on plans for next year. Is this an enrollment window that people want to take advantage of?
Yeah, thanks for asking about that. It is January until March, our ideal enrollment window.
And at what point should you start exploring this program and picking up the phone and asking some questions or go to the website? Where in your children's education, at what point do you want to start taking a look at this option?
10th grade is when students apply, but I often meet with the parents of 8th graders who are looking at this as a potential option and trying to line up coursework so that their students can take advantage of it.
All right. Well, it sounds like a great program. Amanda, thank you very much for joining us today on the show. Again, why don't you give out your website one more time so people can seek out more information?
www.oaklandace.com. And you can find us through the Oakland Schools website also.
Amanda, I haven't done the show for so long, and the first guest that I have on is so kind and polite and gracious and informative. Great job today. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more on the Megacast. I'm Dave Scott, in for Tyler Keefe. Don't go away.
Hey Laker fans, do you know a friend or neighbor that volunteers in Greater West Bloomfield? We would love to help you recognize them at the 51st Annual Michigan Week Awards. Countless members of the communities of Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and West Bloomfield give their time and talent daily without regard for recognition. You can help recognize these individuals and organizations at our awards breakfast next year on May 12th, 2023. Nominate your neighbor or organization starting January 28th, 2023. Go to michiganweek.org for details.
I'm feeling good. Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us all across Oakland County, West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, all of our communities, Birmingham, the northern part of the county, Lake Orion, wherever you happen to be. Very good to have you with us. I'm Dave Scott, in for Tyler Keefe today. We're going to take a look at investments coming up in just a couple of minutes. As you try to manage your portfolio right now, it can really be difficult. What do? Do I sit? Do I wait? Do I ride the storm out? Do I make adjustments on a daily basis? We're going to have some sound financial advice for you in just a couple of minutes. So a few minutes ago, when I opened up the show today, I was talking about all the really interesting, fun things going on. Of course, it is Thanksgiving week this week, and we got some time off. We're going to have an opportunity to get together with a family. 2 huge football games. I know everyone's going to watch. It doesn't matter whether you're a Michigan State fan or not. This week, Michigan, Ohio State on Saturday, I think like 12:30. That's going to be great viewing. And the Detroit Lions, after winning 3 games in a row now, have Buffalo here in town at Ford Field. They're a great team, but I listened to the sports talk shows, and our friend Stoney from right here in West Bloomfield, I heard him the other day saying, hey, the Lions could win this thing. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But beyond all that, of course, Thanksgiving kicks off the annual crazy shopping season, and we have this thing Black Friday, which is always a really big shopping day. I think that's right. Yeah. Okay. They correct me in the booth and say yes. So we've got that on Friday, and that is the day that you want to get out. And I know all the shoppers in my family, they head to the malls at they used to go at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, head out and get their shopping because there were always really amazing good deals on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Now it keeps getting earlier and earlier, and I think you got to go out for some of the deals as soon as you finish eating your Thanksgiving turkey on Thursday night, because they keep pushing that forward a little bit. Another really interesting thing going on here in Oakland County, and I think across most of the nation, is shop small and local. And we made an extra emphasis here in Oakland County to promote this. And Saturday is Small Business Saturday, November 26th. So Friday, you get out, you look for those big deals on Friday. And if you can think on Saturday about all the small businesses here in our area across Oakland County. I don't know if you had a chance to see it on the news. I did this morning. The amazing colors and lights that are up in many of our downtowns. Rochester just looks amazing. Downtown Birmingham, amazing. Certainly, even going through our communities in West Bloomfield and Keego Harbor, where we don't have as much of a concentrated downtown. The lights are up. It's looking very festive. And if you go to our malls and our shops and our local merchants, why don't you take an opportunity to really think about them on Saturday, Small Business Saturday, November 26th. It's a great way to kick off the holiday season. And, you'll be forgiven if you don't really do a lot of shopping between 12:30 and 3:30. But if you don't care about football, it might be a great time to go out. Stores might not be quite as crowded. Either way, don't forget about the small local merchants, business people just like you and me in our community, working so hard to make a difference. And for many of them, this may be their make or break year. Right here, right now, their make or break time of year during the holiday season. Another small local merchant that you might want to take advantage of visiting over the next couple of days, because he's going to be open either today or tomorrow, is our good friend from Sheboygan, who will be selling Christmas trees at Orchard Lake Schools at Commerce and Orchard Lake Road. And we're going to check in with Dan and the whole crew from Sheboygan. They harvest all these amazing Christmas trees. They'll be right there at Orchard Lake Road and Commerce Road in West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor area, at a great place if you're shopping for a real natural Christmas tree to be able to get one and then help the folks out at Orchard Lake St. Mary along the route. So we're going to take a break. When we return, we're going to take a look at what you need to be doing right now to make sure that you are financially stable. We are living in a rocky time right now. Some people say do this, some people do that. I see these things on the internet that say, if you've got, this situation, you must do this instantly. We're going to get to the bottom of all that in just a minute. We check in with our next guest after this quick break. Thank you very much for joining us. You are watching the Megacast. Dave in for Tyler, and I'll be right back.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymytv.com. Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Wake up, Greater West Bloomfield. Start your mornings with The Splash and tune in for The Splash Live. Get acquainted with people, places, and activities that are live, local, and for you. First thing in the morning, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. on our Civic Center TV YouTube page, or watch us live at Civic Center TV or on Facebook. The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live update show.
That's our good morning and welcome back to the Megacast. Dave Scott in for Tyler Keith this morning. And he is the host of the amazingly popular What Would Dewey Do podcast. Joining us now, Dewey Steffen, CEO and Chief Investment Officer of Great Lakes Wealth. Dewey, good morning. How you doing today?
Hey, Dave. Good morning. It's great to see you.
Well, good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. So, Dewey, first of all, I got to check out your podcast. I've not done that. We'll make sure we give that a plug before we head off. Dewey, I get so much email. You probably do too. And lately, especially as the economy has been a little bit disrupted, I get all of these like emails that says you must do this immediately or your life will be ruined. The most ominous things that are just like required actions that we have to do. I understand that somebody's marketing pitch, but can you just start out today by telling us what to watch out for? I mean, some of these things, they're scary and you get them and then you go, well, boy, I better do that right away. And it may not be the right thing to do. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it absolutely does. When you're marketing, fear sells and panic sells. And, euphoria can also sell. Panic can be panic of missing out or panic of not doing something that can be devastating. And these are very much uncertain times in terms of, opportunities that are there, but also worries to have. And so specifically to doomsday scenarios or opportunities that may, be lost, those are all, individual and specific. But in general, there are absolutely some things that all investors should do, whether that's before year end or just in general to invest for success.
All right, so let's start with the simple things before we get into the scenarios. Let's talk about the year end. That's a really good place to start. What would Dewey do right now with the calendar saying Thanksgiving and almost December 31st?
Well, thank you for the plug of the podcast. Again, we have a wealth management firm here in Oakland County, and it's called Great Lakes Wealth. And then we have a podcast that we started during the pandemic to help our community not just survive, but thrive. And a play on my name, Dewey, of What Do We Do? So we do have over 1.5 million views on social media, Dave.
Nice.
So we're very proud of that. Yes, and so we're on YouTube and it's on Spotify and it's on Apple iTunes, and so on there we have guests in the community and we have people that always say what they would do, not just what do we do. So that was a quick plug for the podcast, but it relates to investment planning around the Thanksgiving time and the holidays coming up. The very first one would be just to make sure you've maxed out your retirement plan at work and put all the money away that you can either get deferred from income tax and or just make sure you're hitting the investment limits, especially if your employers match.
And I got to say, so I'm an employer here, and I got a lot of young people that work for me. And I understand it because when I was young, I wasn't always looking as far forward as I should have. But, I'm going to sit down and have a meeting with all of them at the advice of one of my counselors. Most of my employees are not taking full advantage of the 401k and the match. It's like free money I'm giving them every year, and they're not taking advantage of it. So guys in the studio, make sure you're signed up for the 401k here at our operation. But do a lot of people really miss that, especially young people?
Oh, 100%, Dave. And there's, it used to be that, well, I'm not doing it because my employer doesn't match, or I'm not doing it for whatever reasons. But again, just to have one established through a company, that's a lot of expense that you as an individual employee there don't have to worry about, coming up with. So whether they match or not, this is the best way that you can invest for success. On our website, greatlakeswealth.us, as well as anywhere else you can go on the internet, you can find calculators that if you just put in $100 a week, $400 a month, that's $4,800 a year, plus growth over time, and the eighth wonder of the world of compound interest will kick in. So there's, again, it's a simple way that you can invest for success and set yourself up for retirement and a fortune later. But if they do have a match, then that's absolutely found money that you're just missing. And 12/31 is the deadline, so you have about 5 weeks left.
Yeah, I think my employees, I think they get like a 3% match. So it's not huge, but that really adds up and makes sense. I say, look, Starbucks is great. I love their coffee, but if you could just, make coffee at home a couple days a week, that money, if you're in between 25 and 40 years old, maybe it's too late for me, but these young people, that's going to make a big difference, isn't it? In when they get ready to retire.
Yeah, do simple math, Dave. It's the rule of 72. If you get a 7.2% return on your investments, they will double with compounding every 10 years. And if you get a 10% return on your investments with compound interest, that would double every 7.2 years. So very simple for young people. If you're 20 and you put in, the max into just a Roth IRA, forget the max in your 401k, which is over 20,000 as a max in your 401k, but the Roth at 6,000, per year for 10 years, that's 60,000, and then you'll be 30. And that 60,000, if you stop, will double in 10 years from 60,000 to 120,000. You'll be 40. From 120,000 to 240,000, you're 50. From 240,000 to 480,000, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just compounding. Forget adding the entire way. So again, I encourage greatness, and this is the opportunity of a lifetime, because the markets, no matter what market you're talking about, stocks, bonds, crypto, precious metals, real estate, they're all down this year. You're supposed to invest when investments are down.
Dewey Stephan is with us, CEO, Chief Investment Officer at Great Lakes Wealth. I wasn't planning to go here, but as long as you mentioned crypto. Is crypto dead? I mean, we've been hearing all these scary things about crypto. Is that still a hot area that people should be investing in? Do you have any thoughts?
Yes, we do for sure. We run a digital asset strategy here at Great Lakes Wealth, and so we are certainly paying attention to what's happening in the crypto markets. We think a lot of people have confused crypto with gold, digital gold. Crypto is a speculative investment. It's more of a technology. It's not just cryptocurrency. There's blockchain. There's a whole infrastructure and utility in the digital asset space. But as it relates to cryptocurrency, we do recommend that all investors, whether they're 5 to 105, do put between 1 and 5% of their portfolio into crypto. We do not recommend anybody 5 to 105 put more than that. It is a way that you can increase your alpha, which is your excess return, but you also understand that there's huge risk. So it's a satellite investment. It's an alternative to your core, but a lot of young people, unfortunately, put the whole thing in there because they thought it was that simple and that easy. It's a technology that is here, and it is here to stay. You just have to understand it's extremely volatile, extremely high risk.
So what are you recommending for people that have been watching the markets? We've had some big days lately, but it's been a roller coaster ride. I talk to my friends, especially those that have already passed the retirement point in their life, and they're a little bit scared. It's been a challenging time. What advice do you have for people that are near or close to retirement in this current economy?
Yeah, sure. Back to the first question you asked about what to do, with all that's going on. And this is timely with it being Thanksgiving, the time of harvest and all that. Everyone has had a bad year in some part of their portfolio. If they haven't, then I'd like to talk to them and hear exactly what they've done with that one-hit wonder. But in general, this is the year where you should harvest your losses. Take a look at that, understand what that means. It means if you have investments that are down, you can sell them. And then as long as you wait 31 days to buy them back, you can realize that loss and then continue with the investment. So there are some specifics there. So we recommend you reach out to your financial advisor, your planner, to make sure that you are doing it correctly for your strategy. But harvest your losses to prepare for any future gains that you'll have. And then we would say, remind yourselves that over the long term, the stock markets have always gone up in the long term. They have always gone up. They have never not gone up. So again, realize long term that stock and other investments in that category are your friend, and they will serve you well. But in the short term, Dave, to answer your question, if you're nearing or in retirement, you need to have a short-term pile or a pile that's not invested in the markets. And guess what? Bonds are back. With the aggressive stance that the Federal Reserve has taken this year, you can now get 5%, 6% in guaranteed investments. And that is amazing considering all that's going on. So make sure you take some of your investment money and put it into those income generating, safe, stable investments generating 6%. And then besides that, have some long-term investments that are in equities, in crypto, in real estate, in other asset classes that you can very easily expect to return maybe 10%, maybe 20% per annum when things turn and go how they normally go over time.
You know, you're taking all the doom and gloom out of this, Dewey. I know all this good news, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense. You said earlier that if we can make 7% or a little bit better at an annual basis, we're doing pretty good, and we're going to double our money over a short interval. And so, you know, interest rates are a real pain, and inflation are a real pain as you're going to the grocery store or the gas station. But from an investment standpoint, higher interest rates certainly that may continue to come up to discourage inflation. They may be good because on the investment side, we can actually make money. We've had very low interest rates for so long. It's been very difficult to make money with bonds, as you mentioned a moment ago.
Yeah, bonds are having a very bad year this year, and that's because when interest rates go up, bond prices do fall. And so the average bond market, the AG it's called, is down 15% year to date, 1.5. So if you have a bond market or a mutual fund of bonds, or your bonds on paper that have not matured, you may be down 15%. And guess what? That's worse than the Dow. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, the 30 largest stocks in America, is only down 8% year to date. So that's really not that bad, okay? It was down over 20% a month or so ago. So tech stocks, the S&P, other aggressive stock investments are certainly down more than 15 or 20%. Some are down 50%. Cryptocurrency is certainly down even more than that. But again, there are some stocks that are down just a little bit and they pay good dividends. But to your point, with inflation, the best way to keep up with inflation over time are equity investments. The stock market is what keeps up with inflation because the companies that you're invested in, when they raise their prices, they pass that on to the consumer over time, which helps their revenues keep up. And so the one example is oil, and I've been using that for the last year, gas and oil. With oil prices going up, you might as well invest in some oil stocks. And that way, when you're at the pump and you're paying more, you can at least look at the pump and see the logo on there and say, well, if you can't beat them, join them. I might be paying more here, but I know I'm a shareholder and I'll get a dividend, the next quarter.
Well, see, that's why Dewey's here. I got it 100% wrong, and he was very polite not to point that out. But okay, so look at continuing to invest in the market. Dewey, anything else that you think for our community that they should be very cognizant of this time of year or any time of year with regard to investments? Anything new that you want to present today?
Well, not necessarily new, but again, this is the year of being this is the time of being thankful. It's also the time of year of generosity. And so another thing you can do before year end is help your community, help those in need. You can be charitable and you can give donations. Those will also, again, help your community, maybe help you even feel good. But you can also take a deduction on your taxes in many circumstances. So talk to your tax preparer, your accountant about that. But it is a season of thanks. It's also a season of giving. So we would encourage anyone watching today to do that. And then finally, when it comes to investing, remember, it's a long road and you can dollar cost average. You can invest with investments that pay dividends. They don't have to be the sexiest. They don't have to be the most risky out there. This is not a time to flip coins to try to get rich quick. You'll get wealthy over time. And we appreciate your time today. And we're happy to be here. And we thank you for having the show.
Dewey, good to be with you. Thank you very much. Dewey Steffen from Great Lakes Wealth joining us here today on the Megacast. As you can see all of his information there, including information about his podcast. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a minute. When we return, we're going to learn more about junior achievement here in metropolitan Detroit and Oakland County. This is the Megacast. Dave Scott in for Tyler Keefe, and we'll be right back.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID. We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Hey Laker fans, do you know a friend or neighbor that volunteers in Greater West Bloomfield? We would love to help you recognize them at the 51st Annual Michigan Week Awards. Countless members of the communities of Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and West Bloomfield give their time and talent daily without regard for recognition. You can help recognize these individuals and organizations at our awards breakfast next year on May 12th, 2023. Nominate your neighbor or organization starting January 28th, 2023. Go to michiganweek.org for details.
I'm feeling good. Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
Back to the Megacast. My name is Dave Scott, in for Tyler Keefe. Good to have you with us wherever you happen to be around Oakland County, southeastern Michigan, maybe anywhere around Michigan, watching us on My Michigan TV. Very good to have you with us today. Junior Achievement, it's always been a program that's really impressed me. Anything that gets at our young people and helps them shape their lives early is something that I want to be a part of. Junior Achievement's mission to impact and prepare young people to succeed, that says it all. And when I think junior achievement, I think about helping young people understand how to get involved in the community, understand what volunteerism is all about. So let's find out if I'm right and what it's all about. Joining us now is Linda Morrell, the development manager, and Crystal Smith, Vice President of Philanthropy at Junior Achievement of Southeastern Michigan. Linda and Crystal, thank you very much for joining us today on the Megacast.
Thank you for having us.
So, Crystal, did I get that right? Was my setup kind of close?
Absolutely. Well, Junior Achievement, our mission is to inspire and prepare young people to succeed in a global economy. We envision a world in which young people have the skill set and the mindset to build thriving communities.
And I think, Linda, that, people love picking on the young generation. They just do. Oh, these people, they don't know how to work as hard as we did when we were kids. I hear that so much, and it's just so disappointing to hear people my age and even younger people talking about the young people that are coming into the business world now. Honestly, I think in a large way, they get it a little bit better than we do. Linda, I am so impressed by young people. Our people here, we were talking about our holiday party, and they want to go give back to the community rather than go out and get intoxicated somewhere. I mean, it's so impressive. Do you find that to be true as well?
Absolutely. And JA, we work in 3 different areas, so we want them to look at their financial abilities. We want them to be entrepreneurs, and we give them some work and career success tools. So we're trying to impact that, so no one will say about our kids, oh, they don't know how to come to work appropriately, or they don't know what to do when they get their paycheck. That's what we're here for. And we see the kids have some awesome aha moments where they say things like, oh, when my mom says she doesn't have $5, she really means she doesn't have $5. And we hear the adults who come and volunteer with us say things like, I wish I had this when I was their age.
So let's talk a little bit about, Linda, let's talk a little bit about the age group that you're working with in junior achievement. When can you become a part of it from an age standpoint? And do you ever age out of JA? I mean, at some point, you're not junior anymore, right?
Right. So first of all, we work mostly with educators, school systems, charter schools, and community-based organizations to offer our curriculum. So you can't do very much with JA just individually. We have a little bit of that, partly due to COVID, but we offer the opportunities through our partnerships. And we do K-12 very successfully. We have different programs for all the age levels. Obviously, what we're talking about for a senior versus a kindergartner, so that's slightly different. And new this year, we're starting to serve the youth who are 18 to 25, who might be employed in an entry-level job, who might be disconnected from school or from work. So we're newly going into that space just this year.
And Crystal, is that age group facing a particularly difficult challenge right now? And we're post-COVID, the employment market is a little bit confusing right now. I'm really glad to hear that you're working with that age group.
So the students, we're finding out as they're coming in that they're a little bit behind because of COVID. So we have to apply a different strategy to the age groups that are coming down to our finance park, which is our capstone facility downtown Detroit. So our staff is just kind of pivoting and going, talking to the educators to see exactly where they stand. And we're just adapting and being flexible.
JA's been around for a long time, and I think when I think of you guys, I see your logo, I see your brand, I'm familiar with the name and the brand of Junior Achievement, but I don't know that all of our viewers and listeners have a keen idea of what programs specifically Junior Achievement is involved in. Linda, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So the reason you've seen our brand is we've been around nationally since 1919 and locally since 1949. And most of the people who were in JA back in the day and say, oh, I was in JA, they remember after school experience that was more like a club, and they came and learned entrepreneurship skills, and they solved a problem, opened a business, and went through the whole life cycle of a business. So we still have that program. It's called JAB Entrepreneurial, and we lead the students right through a whole program of developing a product, learning how to market that product, selling the product, all the aspects of owning a business. Of course, that's for older kids. We also do financial literacy, like I said before, K-12. So we have different programs focused on financial literacy, all age groups, and work in career readiness. We know that students don't know what they don't know. So they don't know that the car company, besides making a car, has an accounting department, has an IT department, all the different opportunities. And we try to help them be aware, not just of the traditional, what we all know, but now as new things are coming out, we try to connect them with those opportunities as well, so that they're on their radar, so they know more about what those options are. And now kids get asked all the time, what do you want to be when you grow up? And hopefully we're helping direct that path.
Well, we were talking about that earlier on the program today. There is often confusion, and I mean, I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. So I can only imagine. I can only imagine the challenges that younger people coming into the workforce must have. It is a challenge to understand the total knowledge base that you need as you're entering the workforce. And there really isn't the curriculum to talk about, how do you manage your financial life? What do you do with your paycheck? How do you interact with the people at work? All these other things that you're mentioning. It's so important. But Crystal, Smith, this all has to get paid for somehow. You're the VP of philanthropy. I assume that you're the one that's got to go out and find money. How do you fund your organization?
Well, first of all, we just want to thank all of our donors. Our donors are the core of our financial stability. We have donors, don't want to go into different names, but we have major donors in the community that give to us, that sustain our funding. And without their commitment to us, we wouldn't be able to do the work that we do, offering free programming to the schools and educators. And the educators really need JA to help them with their classwork. And we are honored to do that. And we do that with volunteers. We train our volunteers to go out and teach our curriculum for us on behalf of JA. And we train them prior to the program starting and make sure that they are well equipped to do what we're asking them to do. But we dearly, dearly appreciate all of our donors throughout the community and our partnerships.
Well, I'll give you a chance in a minute too to let people know how they can engage. But Linda, looking at all the programs and looking at the students that you have coming into your program right now, do you see an area where there is the biggest gap that you need to fill, or are there some things that you run into over and over again where, had it not been for JA being there, that these students would really be challenged with?
Well, we know there's an equity issue. There are students within Southeastern Michigan who have resources, still don't know how to manage them, but then there are other students who don't have the resources. And again, it's about making them aware of what their opportunities are in the future. We also know, as Crystal said, the students are lacking a little right now because of COVID, and teachers are challenged. And the nice thing, our curriculum has it all there for the teacher. They don't have to write their own, but they're challenged because there's a lot to fit in a school day. They have to meet standards set by other people, in the school district, at the state level, at the federal level. And our curriculum aligns with that, but you have to be able to have the curriculum and offer that. And of course, in some districts, having the teachers be available, having subs if they do want to come visit our JA Finance Park, paying for buses sometimes can be a challenge for some of our school districts. So those are all things that some of our funding helps us to support educators and to support students.
Well, and I think that I know the answer to this one, but when I think about JA, I think about large corporate organizations that have traditionally been very supportive of your cause. But do you also need help from individuals and smaller organizations?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So
we always need additional help. Like you said, we do have the larger corporations, but we also partner with CBOs and smaller organizations as well. They utilize our facility in Finance Park as well. So yes, we always need additional help because the need is great. So please give us a call and let us know that you are available. You can go to our website at jamichigan.org to sign up to volunteer. We have a new volunteer coordinator also, Ms. Jess Pate, who will help you to customize your needs and what we do. So please don't hesitate to give her a call as well.
All right, Crystal, good plug there right at the end. jamichigan.org. That's jamichigan.org. And if you need any additional information, well, there it is right on the screen. jamichigan.org for all of the information. Linda, any final comments before we run along?
We're also in partnership with Share Detroit, so we could be found there with links, little information about us, and of course, links back to our website, jamichigan.org. We'd be happy to talk to someone about their opportunities to volunteer and or to give.
Yeah, and I imagine too that there are some districts you're just more active in and others you're less active in. If there's somebody watching and maybe they live in a district where you're a little bit less active, but they want to engage with you, I assume they can also go to that same address to find out more about your services.
Absolutely. We serve 10 counties. So I'm pretty sure that one of the counties that they're thinking of is in there. If not, we can connect them to another JA. But we serve the 10 counties, which is Genesee, Lapeer, Livingston, Macomb, Monroe, Oakland, Siwash, St. Clair, Washtenaw, and Wayne.
Wow, that's a lot of territory. I remember in Metro
Yes.
Detroit was Wayne, Oakland, Macomb. I could remember all those counties. I don't know if someone put me on the spot and said, hey, what are the 10 counties of Metro Detroit? I could come up with that one. Linda Morrell, Development Manager, and Crystal Smith, Vice President of Philanthropy at Junior Achievement at Southeastern Michigan. You tell your story well. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Megacast today. Good to be with you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Wow, the time has flown by. I got to go. We'll be back tomorrow. Tyler Keefe is off through the Thanksgiving holiday. We got a great lineup tomorrow. We're going to be talking to all kinds of people. I hope you join us on the Megacast right here. See you tomorrow.
This is My Michigan TV. Around here, we